have got a great live broadcast for you this morning. I'm going to be talking about housing solutions for ex-felons. You know, when you get a felony on your record or you're being released from prison, that follows you forever. And with very few exceptions, you have to live with that for the rest of your life. And every time somebody does a background check on you, it's going to come up. Every time you try and fill out an application to rent a house, to rent an apartment, to do an Airbnb, whatever it is, it's going to come up. And in a lot of cases, it's going to disqualify you. Um, Property management companies that manage rental properties for investors, they usually have a no felony rule. Apartment complexes, multifamily housing units usually have a no felony rule. And that being the case, it's real difficult to find a place to live. As a matter of fact, not being able to find a place to live has caused many men and women to make decisions that weren't best for them, that actually contributed to their going back to prison or their otherwise demise. So over the years, being a chaplain in the Florida Department of Corrections, volunteer chaplain in the Florida Department of Corrections, and having some experience with this hardship in life myself, I come up with a few solutions for people in this situation. And I taught this class in a Florida prison setting. It was part of my class called Survival Series, where I went over several things with the guys inside. Uh, Employment solutions for ex-felons, how to improve your relationships, getting your mind right, changing the way that you're thinking, credit, various classes that you'll be able to find elsewhere on my channel. But today is housing solutions for ex-felons. So I'd like to go over this here with you a little bit. The problem is multifamily communities, apartments, condominiums, etc. are out. Most do background checks and do not allow felons to live in their community. The solution: if you're in a situation where you can live with a family member or a friend and they are positive, then take advantage of that and do that for as long as you can until you can get some money up under you. That would be plan A. But everybody don't have that option. Everybody can't just stay with a family member or a friend or this or that. And so in that case, I would suggest trying to rent from a private owner. Somebody you have a relationship with, or somebody who makes their own decisions about their own property. Property management company isn't going to do that. They don't want the risk or the liability of renting to a felon. And so you want to find somebody who is a private owner and they make their own decisions about their own property. Then you have the opportunity to sell yourself. You have the opportunity to have a conversation with the person. They're going to ask about what happened. I suggest you be upfront about it, but learn to tell your story in a way that lets people know whatever a mistake you made was in the past and you're a different person now. And if you're dealing with the owner directly, they're the ones that make the decision. So if you can win them over, chances are they'll rent to you. But if that's not an option, a lot of RV campgrounds do not do background checks. Now, more and more they're starting to. So I know there are some out there that do, but there's a whole lot that don't. You can always get an RV. You can put it in a campground, extended stay, whatever the case may be. Now we're not talking about Plan A here. We're already went from Plan A to Plan B. Now we're on Plan C. So RV campgrounds. Now speaking about RVs, this is in no way a paid promotion. This is just somebody that I know, and this is some good information to have. I only know of one place that sells RVs, buy here, pay here. And that is a guy in St. Pete. He has Skyway RVs, skyway.rvs.com. His name is Charlie, and it's Charlie at skyway.rvs.com is the email. The phone number is 727-409-6945. Now, I don't know this guy personally, but I have spoke with him on the phone on numerous occasions. And in general, what he does is he requires a down payment, $3,500, $45, $55, $65, something like that, just depending on what type of RV you're getting and what your price range is. But for a few grand down, you can get the RV and he will deliver it to you, and you can make weekly payments, monthly payments, whatever the case may be. He's the only person that I know of who does that, Skyway RV. So if you're looking for a place to stay and Plan A, Plan B has not worked out for you, and now you're considering an RV, but maybe you don't got the 10 grand, 12 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand, the good credit, whatever it takes to get it, and you've only got a few thousand. That could be an option for you, getting an RV from him and putting it in a campground. Okay, let's go on down to Plan D. A lot of times you can rent an Airbnb. Now, Airbnbs, some people will do background checks. So you just have to deal with that. But there's a whole lot of them that don't. And you can get Airbnbs by the month. I remember when I moved from Dallas to Denver to take a new job. I got on Airbnb and I found a lady who was renting a room by the month, and I got in there and I rented from her for 6 months. So Airbnb is an option a lot of times. Okay, so now going down to Plan E. We did Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, Plan D. Now we're on Plan E. As a convicted felon, when nothing else works out, you might could try an extended stay hotel. A lot of times you can get them. They rent by the week, by the month, whatever the case may be. It's like a little efficiency apartment. If it's just you, that's enough. Just to get a job, get working, and got a place to come home to at night and lay your head. Now I understand it's not a long-term solution. It's not Plan A, and obviously you want to do better, but it'll keep you off the streets. And if you're just getting out of prison and you got nowhere to go, that's a pretty good option. Okay, so now going down to, I would say Plan E, but for some people it may be Plan A, and that is seeking out halfway houses and transitional assistance programs. Now, on that note, I have got some great information to share with you. When I was researching the information for this class, I came across this website, pleadthe8th.com. Like plead the fifth, plead, Plead, the number 8, th.com. Pleadthe8th.com. This website is a website that pulls all sorts of resources together in one spot. And they have a reentry assistance. And they offer support to people getting out of prison in all areas of Florida. And I'm sure if Florida doesn't apply to you, if you're watching this from somewhere else or if you're going somewhere else, even a site like this, you could give them a call and ask for referrals. They have to be connected. Now, I'm going to put these on and I'm going to look here. So they focus on Jacksonville, Miami, Orlando, Tallahassee, and Tampa. When I looked at this website one time before when I was getting ready to do this class, they had some sort of resource or information for almost every city in the state. They have since redone their website and they're only focusing now on Jacksonville, Miami, Orlando, Tallahassee, and Tampa, or those broader areas. But as I go through this website, I'm just going to share a few with you, and for anybody interested, the actual page that I'm on is pleadthe8.com/reentry-resources. So pleadthe8.com/reentry-resources. So for the Tampa area, which is it is a place called Project 180, project180.org. If you're interested, they're in Sarasota. Their number is 941-677-2281. It says Project 180's residential program offers up to 2 years of stable residency, nutritious food, clothing, transportation, help in paying fines that prevent the restoration of driving privileges, cultural opportunities in the community, assistance in finding full-time employment, and more. Folks, if you're just getting out of prison and you can find yourself a program that's going to house you for 2 years, that's going to feed you, that's going to help you pay your fines that are prohibiting you from getting your license back, if that applies to you, and they're going to help you get a job and get on your feet, that should probably be moved from Plan E on the list to Plan A. Staying with family and friends and all that is great. And even if you're self-sustained, even if you can go back to your own place and you got skills or whatever, you can begin working immediately. I mean, for a lot of people, that'll be all right. That'll work. But to have the help and the support of an organization behind you, that's powerful. And that has the ability to transform a whole lot of lives, because a lot of times when people get out of prison, they deal with a lot of boredom. They deal with a lot of, on the other end of the spectrum, they deal with a whole lot of wanting to do everything now. They're trying to make up for a whole lot of time that they missed, and they're wanting to do this. And running like that will put you in a position to make bad decisions. And bad decisions have consequences. And when you are just getting out of prison, you are usually on some type of probation, or even if you're not on probation, it's real easy to mess up and go right back. Being in a program like this would be very beneficial. So that's Project 180. And this is in the Tampa area. So they got Abe Brown Ministries, which is a faith-based program in Tampa that has created a 12-month program. So the Project 180 was 2 years. The Abe Brown Ministry is 1 year. You got Daystar Life Center, which is a healthy food pantry, rent or utility assistance, financial assistance, edible garden, a nutritional and financial education programs. They'll let you get mail there, health and wellness, a clothing closet, benefits application, pet food assistance, all kinds of stuff they offer to people. You got St. Vincent de Paul Cares, uh, Pinellas County Ex-Offender Reentry Coalition, on and on and on this page goes with reentry assistance for people who are getting out of prison. I'm not going over all of them. There's a lot of them here, and there's a lot in Jacksonville too. Man, Jacksonville goes on and on and on and on. And they have assistance as well in Orlando and Tallahassee. I would suggest you contact pleadthe8.com. Let's see if they got a contact page on here okay, contact us. So they don't give a phone number. As far as I can see, there's not a phone number, but they are quite active on social media. Oh, wait, here it is. This is the phone number they got. 727-351-3040. And they are active on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. This is the best a resource I have seen or found yet for people getting out of prison or people with felonies on their record and needing a chance just to rebuild their life. Now, there's another one as well that is helpforfelons.org. Let me see. Helpforfelons.org. They offer a whole bunch of resources as well. In my opinion, it's not like the pleadthe8.com, but it's helpful. They can help you with finances, legal. They can help you with employment. On and on it goes. So that is Plan E, or in some cases, I would suggest a Plan A for people. But, okay, let's say none of that works out for you. A, B, C, D, E. Okay, let's talk about Plan F. Plan F would be to get a job someplace that provided housing. I once worked for a resort. It was an island. It was called Cabbage Key, and I was a server there. And they had, because it was an island, they had employee quarters. And you actually lived there on the island. And then on your days off or whatever, you could take a daily boat, a ferry that went back and forth to the mainland. So when I got that job, it had the added benefit of including a place to stay. I know there are some construction companies that will offer housing to their employees as well. It isn't all of them, but there are employer housing options out there. You might get on a fishing boat, might get on a cruise boat. That's just a few options. So we're on Plan A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, Plan G. Now understand, people that are new to the stream just watching, I have already talked about Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, Plan D, Plan E, Plan F. Not everybody's situation is the same. Not everybody deals with the same set of circumstances or has the same opportunities. I'm trying to provide housing solutions for people all across the spectrum. Here's something that is possible for survival. I don't recommend it because a whole lot of negative can come from it. But if you're in survival mode, they have this thing called a hobosexual, which is really just living with somebody for being in a relationship for a place to stay. Maybe it's a girlfriend, maybe it's a boyfriend, whatever the case may be, but they have a place to stay, and that benefits you. It beats being homeless. But man, you really want to try another option before it comes to that. I have been in a couple relationships for a place to stay um, earlier in my life, and I don't look back on any of them relationships feeling good about being in them. I was in them a while though. I was in them a while, 3, 4, 5, 6 years each. But I wish I'd have had a different housing solution besides that one. Okay, so plan F. So now we're on plan. Let's see, A B C D E F G H. Plan H. If you just can't do nothing else, if nothing else works for you, you can't get a place to stay here, you can't get a place to stay there, you can't get in the programs, you can't get in a relationship, you can't get into a campground, Airbnb, RV, you can't do any of that. They got some homeless communities where people are sometimes living better than people in houses. I stayed in Denver for a while. You would want to go to a state that probably a blue state. You don't see a whole lot of public homeless encampments in red states. But when I lived in Colorado, man, they had whole entire communities on the sidewalks. Now, again, for y'all just joining in, this ain't plan A. This is all the way down on plan H. Um, but there are ways to survive out there. If you got a felony on your record. And I think there are plenty of options before you get all the way down there to some of those lesser options. But some helpful tips that's going to help you along the way. Have a job, if at all possible. It's much easier to get a place to stay if you have a job. If you need a job as well as a place to stay, getting a place to stay is going to be a whole lot harder. Have cash. When you go to rent a place and you finally find a situation that works for you, maybe the landlord is open to renting to felons or whatever the case may be, they're going to do a background check, which you can't do nothing about. They're probably going to do a credit check. The better your credit is, the better your chances of being rented to are. If you have poor credit and a felony, you're making life real difficult on yourself. So, and have the money, because at the end of the day, money talks and bullshit walks. If you're talking to the landlord and he's trying to rent this place, and maybe he's not really up for renting to a felon, but you got first, last, and security, and you got a decent credit score, and you got a job, he's more willing to take a chance on you than if those things aren't true. So although there are some things you can't do nothing about, there are some things you can definitely do something about. Have cash. Have a job. Do the best you can to maintain a good credit score. Have reference letters. Reference letters are hugely important. If you're already in a situation where you're trying to rent a place and you know they're going to do a background check on you, and you have a felony, but you have reference letters, okay, maybe this isn't just getting out of prison or whatever. Maybe you've been out for a while, but this is an ongoing problem. It doesn't go away. So maybe you've been out for a while. Every place you've been, try and get a letter from that landlord. That way, when you go to the new letter, to the new landlord, If you can show, here's the last 5 places I've lived. Here's a letter of reference from every landlord I rented from. And the letter of reference says he was a great tenant, she was a great tenant. They always paid the rent on time and kept the place clean. I would happily rent to them again, something like that. That's persuasive. And that's a way that you can help yourself. Okay, well, what if you don't have that? Maybe you can get a family member to write you a reference letter. It doesn't, man, I can't tell you how many times my Uncle Tony was my landlord. Now, he's passed now, but whenever I needed a letter of reference, if it was for a job, I went to him and he wrote a letter and said he was my boss, right? If I needed a letter of reference for a landlord, he wrote a letter and said he was my landlord. If I needed a letter of reference for this or for that, man, my Uncle Tony was good. He was always there and to write me a letter and offer me support. Listen, if there's a will, there's a way. So collect letters of reference. Here's another thing that's going to help you. If you're trying to rent a place and you got a felony, you're already dealing with obstacles. It is best to not have an aggressive breed dog, because if you're bringing a pit bull onto the property, okay, let's say that you got a felony, and let's say you got decent credit, and you got the rent, and you're talking to the landlord, and he's trying to decide whether or not he's leaning toward maybe giving you an opportunity and he's going to rent to you. Then he asks you if you got any pets. And you say, oh yeah, I got this dog. And he says, what kind of dog? And you say, it's a pit bull. A whole lot of landlords don't want that. I would wait to get you a pet until after you've moved in. That felony on your record is enough to deal with. You don't want to add a dog to it. You don't want to add bad credit to it. You don't want to add not having a job to it. So there are things you can do something about. And as I tell the fellas inside when I go in to teach this class to them as a volunteer chaplain, there are things you can't do nothing about. That's true. You can't do nothing about your past. It is what it is, and you did what you did, and you got to live with it. But there are things you can do something about. And those things, do the best you can. You do the best you can there. You put yourself in the best position possible. Everything else will work out. So, just to go over again, Plan A would be staying with family and friends if you're in that position, if you're able to. Plan B would be renting from a private owner as opposed to a apartment or multi-family housing unit, whatever. That would be Plan B. Plan C are RV campgrounds, and you can contact Skyway RV about a buy here, pay here RV. He is in St. Pete. His number is 727-409-6945. You can stay in an Airbnb, long-term hotel, halfway houses, which for some should be a Plan A. Pleadthe8.org. Pleadthe8.org. Go look at their reentry assistance. They offer a lot. Employee housing. There are a whole lot of employers out there due to the nature of the job that provide housing. And helpful tips. Have a job, cash, reference letters, the best credit score you can, and don't harm yourself by having an aggressive breed dog. All right, folks, I am going to wrap this up. Let me go through here real quick, see if I got any questions I can answer from anybody who give me a question here. Let's see here. nothing of note. So I will sign off. I appreciate if you like this content. If you will like and subscribe, leave a comment below of a question I can answer for you, and I'll be happy to.